less than 2,000.
The podcast.
Come on, come on, come on. Feel it, feel it.
You got the good vibrations.
I mean, that song was the dude. I remember when that came out. It was July of 1991, and that was the biggest. That was just the biggest, dude. I can't believe how that made me feel, how cool it was, the video. I mean, it was black and white video, and he's like lifting weights with cinder blocks on the barbell, and I'm shirtless and just like,
well, no,
so
no.
cool.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to go a little deeper with this. You said, I have no idea what this made you feel. So I don't want to know what about Marky Mark with a shirt off lifting center blocks. How did it make Adam feel? Expand on that, please.
Well, if you can't tell, I'm sure the audience has picked up on the fact by now that I am not afraid to say when a guy is a good-looking guy. I talked about.
No one's disputing that.
It was the time. It was the age that we were. 10 years old for me when that came out, and he was a good-looking guy, and he was just kind of the guy that we all wanted to be. Marky Mark, as in Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. To this day, I refuse to refer to him as Mark Walhlberg. You are Marky Mark. I don't care. You can try to reinvent yourself. I don't care how good of an actor you are. You are Marky Mark.
Well, that follows him everywhere. I kind of understand it. I mean, like he's married now with kids. I mean, I was just reading an article about how he was at like his kid's baseball game. Like during one of the breaks, the entire place started busting out in good vibrations. Like that song came on.
Right.
And I guess his son buried his head in his helmet and went, oh no, and was like hiding from everybody because it was all eyes on Mark at that point. So, I mean, between the underwear ads and Good Vibrations video and Boogie Nights, like, he's kind of got a pretty crazy past, like, of art. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's a lot to explain to your children.
Well, and it's also funny that you've got a dad who's a multi-millionaire. He was a model, a rapper, and now a big-time actor. I mean, big-time actor. And even that, his son or daughter, his kids are still embarrassed. It doesn't matter. That's just a
yes, but I mean,
thing.
all kids are going to be embarrassed by their parents. So let's make sure we acknowledge the fact that you could be the coolest guy on the planet, and your kids are still going to think you're a frickin' loser. So let's just call that out. This is worse. This is Good Vibrations. This is Boogie Nights and Calvin Klein ads. I mean, there's a lot more to explain, than just doing stupid things or being embarrassed by your dad. I mean, this is like launched into a whole new territory.
So of course, well, I guess we'll start the episode now. The Marky Mark. I will not refer to him as Mark Walhlberg. Marky Mark is the younger brother of Donnie Wahlberg. And of course, Donnie Wahlberg was in the band New Kids on the Block. And I did not know this until today. Marky Mark was actually one of the original members of New Kids on the Block.
Was he really?
And he quit the band like a few months in.
No kidding.
Look, I would much rather... You seem to think Good Vibrations is a bad song or something he should be embarrassed by. I would much rather be known for Good Vibrations than being in New Kids on the Block. I mean, New Kids on the Block was a way bigger deal, but, I mean, as far as, embarrassing things, I'd much rather be Marky Mark than Donnie Wahlberg.
Please, you gotta understand, I'm not talking about the song. The song is great. I'm talking about the music video. Everybody remembers that black and white video. I mean, that was one of the hottest music videos of 1991. And that whole, that interlude when they're on bed. I mean, it goes from him lifting weights and, doing all that stuff to, suddenly, a very intimate scene in the middle of the music video before he goes back to rapping. That's more of what I'm talking about. Because his kids YouTubed that and went, oh my God, Dad. I'm sorry.
Sure.
They saw that. That's what they're embarrassed by.
Well, and you also referenced, particularly the final shot of Boogie Nights, too. Imagine saying that.
Explaining that to your kids. That's not mine. That's a prosthetic.
Donnie Wahlberg actually produced the album. Marky Mark's first album, Music for the People, the big one.
Oh, did he really?
Donnie.
I didn't know that.
And do you remember that I got you that tape for your birthday?
No, because I think you forgot that you actually got me his second album, You Gotta Believe, in 92.
I don't even remember there being a second album. I thought I got you the original, the Music for the People, the good one, the first one, by Marky Mark. Are you sure about that?
I thought it was You Gotta Believe. Either that or I was just really excited about the second one because I loved the first one so much that I was like, oh my God, there's another one? Yes! And maybe I just ran out and got the cassette tape, on my own. But I really remember it was like my birthday.
It was.
And we had an overnight party, and I remember us like rocking out to the song, track 2, You Gotta Believe.
So 91 is when this came out, July of 91. And this was the era of white rappers. I mean, this, like you said, gave us hope that we could be white rappers someday. To the Extreme by Vanilla Ice came out September of 91.
Yep.
So this was almost a year later. But then you remember Informer by Snow was 92, and he was a Canadian. I mean, not just a white guy, a super white guy, a Canadian rapper, 92. And then there was Pop Goes the Weasel by Third Base, which had 2 white rappers.
Wait, that had white rappers in it?
Yeah, 2 white rappers and 1 black guy in that one. And remember, one of them like had the Kid and Play haircut with the glasses.
See, I always loved that. I always loved Third Base. It was awesome.
So that was the era of bad white rap, and it cannot be overstated how big To the Extreme and Ice Ice Baby was, and that just totally paved the way for Marky Mark.
Without all of that other stuff, you definitely don't have Marky Mark. I mean, let's because we have to be at least somewhat intelligent on this show. We obviously know Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch was not some like genius like musical group. They weren't slaying you with rhymes that moved you into like a new direction of humanity or anything like that. But it was fun. I mean, it was just fun. I mean, having gone back and listened to prepare for this, I mean, it's like Sample City and just like, I mean, if somebody else was doing it, they did it. I mean, it was just that dropped in like Mother 92 and like all this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
totally.
I think I heard the same soundbite on like 4 different albums. So to be clear, we're not like talking about this from a super fan standpoint, like it's the greatest thing since they created sliced bread. However, after Vanilla Ice, Marky Mark was cool, man.
Vanilla Ice was cool in 1990. I mean, to us, obviously, not to actual legitimate rappers. Can you imagine what it was probably like for guys like Run DMC and Public Enemy and NWA, the guys that had been doing the real rap from the 80s, and then suddenly these white boys come along and just totally popularize rap on a different level that had never been seen before, and they just must have hated that. Okay, so it's funny. Everybody remembers Marky Mark, but the Funky Bunch, I don't even remember the Funky Bunch. I don't even remember them in their videos. Okay, and their names like Scotty G. Of course, you're Scotty G is on the backup, drug free, so put the crack up. I mean, okay. Did Scotty G or anybody else actually sing on any of these songs? And then there's Hector the Booty Inspector.
No, please tell me that's a joke. For real?
And Ashy Ace. I mean, that's the Funky Bunch. And then, of course, there was the black woman who sung all the choruses and stuff in so many of the songs. But she was not technically part of the, quote, Funky Bunch. So you think it would suck to be in like... New Kids on the Block or whatever. Imagine being in the Funky Bunch and nobody knows who the hell you are. That was your musical career.
Nobody knows who they are. To this day, I have no idea who they are. I'm sure some people do, but...
They don't even have like blue links that you can click on Wikipedia. That means they literally did nothing else. They don't have their own page.
They have nothing else.
And they're not even in the videos. Like, why wasn't it just Marky Mark? Like, why did he even do that? Why did he even have a bunch if he doesn't even...
It is true, because all you think of is Marky Mark. Like, who's the bunch? I mean, it was literally the music videos were Marky Mark. Very few people had anything to say outside of that.
Yeah. Good Vibrations, #1 hit. The other big single from the first one was Wild Side. And I actually do like Wild Side. I liked it then, and I re-listening to it now. It's cheesy, but it's his deep one. It's the one about there's like suicide references and I think like drug stuff. And I mean, it was heavy. The sample is Lou Reed's Take a Walk on the Wild Side. And I remember it wasn't until in college or something that I first heard the original song that came from, and oh, somebody redid Marky Mark's Wild Side. No, that was the original one from like the 60s or 70s.
You actually thought that somebody ripped Marky Mark off, not Marky Mark ripping them off?
Hey, that's okay. People thought, going back to Vanilla Ice, people thought that Queen and David Bowie ripped off Vanilla Ice with doo 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 doo. No, ours is doo 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 doo. The other big one from that one, the one that I really remember, Gotta Get Money.
Gotta get paid. Gotta get money. Gotta get paid.
It was a fun one. I completely forgot about that one. And it's good. And that's ripping off that's using the sample from For the Love of Money by the OJs. And,
so was there anything original on any of this, or was this all sample?
I don't think the Good Vibrations was a sample. I think that was an original song all the way through.
So he had one original song that everyone was like, yo, that's going to be the hit. And then they were like, all right, let's just throw a bunch of other tracks and samples and just kind of lay some shit over it. Let's go.
He was kind of the it thing in the early 90s for what it was. I mean, then he became a CK model, Calvin Klein model. He was doing those like topless ads with Kate Moss.
Wasn't it the other way around? Didn't he do the underwear ads and then become Marky Mark? Or
I really don't know, but I don't think so. I think CK came later. Okay, so let's move on to 1990. Let's move on to the second one, 1992. You Gotta Believe. I don't remember this one. I don't think I ever owned it. I think by this time I was over Marky Mark. It wasn't interesting to me anymore.
See, I was clinging on, but then there really was only the only one good song on that whole thing.
But 90, what song was that?
You Gotta Believe, track 2.
Yeah. And it sucked.
I liked that song.
It sucked. No, it was the most generic. It was just exactly like it was trying to be.
We come back at you one
2.
more time. No, it was like. I mean, it was overly produced.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as streamlined as Good Vibrations. But everybody played Good Vibrations so much that it was like, finally, there's another song to listen to that's like kind of fun.
I don't remember it. By 92, The Chronic by Dr. Dre had come out. So like real rap. The stuff that was like groundbreaking was starting to come out and just make when you compare The Chronic to You Gotta Believe by Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. You got to remember, I could play Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch out loud at home without my parents saying anything. I could not play The Chronic at home. So
true.
Just to really give myself a little bit of credit, because everybody's going to be like, yo, this dude is way too into Marky Mark. So like, just to clarify, I did in fact have The Chronic. I did listen to that album a lot. I listened to that way more, I promise, than Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I'm just saying I could play that one out loud and my parents wouldn't ground me. So it,
Marky Mark didn't swear. He didn't swear. It wasn't. And if you didn't see the videos, if you were just listening to the tape, you didn't realize how racy he was. Because in every video, he's making out. I mean, he's like getting it on with a girl in every video I saw to prepare for this.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Do you think he had like creative decision on that? Like, yo, Mark, what do you want to do? I want you to call so-and-so. We're going to make out.
So that second one, it was way past his prime. Nothing charted. None of the singles went anywhere. The album didn't go anywhere. I don't, he became an actor after that. 1994, he had his first big movie with Danny DeVito called Renaissance Man, and he's never really looked back. I guess he did some stuff. He did a song with Donnie. He did some song for somebody, some reggae song or something later in the 90s, but his career was 2 albums, his musical career, and he's a much better actor. I mean, he's great in The Departed, for instance.
Mark Wahlberg's fantastic.
Marky Mark is a good actor.
No. Marky Mark is a failed musician. Mark Walhlberg is an amazing actor.
See, that's my chance to get all high-pitched and worked up like you. He wasn't a failed musician. He had a #1 hit single. He sold a platinum album. He had all sorts of girls
throwing their panties at him. I mean, he
is that
he was
success?
a successful musician.
Is that success?
And it wasn't
panties being thrown at you as success. That's how we're going to classify success.
So yes, by that metric, he was definitely a success. He wasn't just a one-hit wonder, because Wild Side got up to number 10, and Gotta Get Money charted. He was a one-hit wonder, let's face it.
Yeah, like, I'm just letting you go on.
I don't think he so much failed as he moved on to do something he was much better at.
The funny thing is, he actually didn't have any. He loved movies, but he never thought he wanted to be an actor. It wasn't until he went in and did his first audition that he went, "Oh, I kind of like this," and then chased the movie career. He wasn't really chasing it, I don't think.
Much like Tupac. One thing that I have no memory of whatsoever, but apparently it's one of the worst games ever made. There was a video game called Make My Video, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, for Sega CD in 92 or 93. First of all, Sega CD, nobody remembers that peripheral. That was a piece of crap.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
A Sega CD was an add-on to the Sega. Like, you literally attached it, I think. It wasn't its own thing. It was like an attachment. Like, remember I had that worthless 32X thing?
Yeah.
They kept Frankensteining the Sega to give it more life with a CD-ROM and the 32X add-on.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Make My Video, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. It's so hard to find. There's like hardly any... I didn't see any screenshots or anything. And in fact, I think the Wikipedia page said it's almost, you cannot find footage of this game. But,
so it's buried. He used all of his money and power to bury as much of his past as possible.
So how did Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch get a video game, but not MC Hammer? I mean, what?
Now that blows my mind, because if they had it, there is no excuse for MC Hammer to have not had a game.
He was good for his time. It was like with that moment in time, the early 90s, the white rapper fad, and he really capitalized on that and then moved on to acting, which he's much, much better at. Fantastic in Boogie Nights. I know that movie's, people have a hard time taking it seriously. He is a tremendous actor in that.
He's an incredible actor in that. Taking it seriously, how can you not take that seriously? That's a great movie. I can't wait to talk about this with you.
People just think it's like a sex movie. And
that's because they're looking at it wrong. They don't understand the genius behind it.
See, this is why you're going to have a heart attack way before your time, because you get worked up over little things like that. And The Departed. I mean, he was just so good in that movie. I don't know what else he's been in, but Transformers or something.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they're all winners, but hey, he got paid a ton of money for that.
Yeah.
See, I don't judge success by panties being thrown. I judge it by the monetary value that you have created.
Oh, so you just go by money then. So by that metric, Vanilla Ice is one of the best ever. You don't even go by quality of artistic achievement. You go by monetary. Interesting.
You know what? You're right. I'm going to do this as a take two. I combine artistic integrity.
Yeah.
And the amount
put
of
that
money
all together with
yeah,
it all now put together. It all together with a you judge by panties and then
I figured
take 3.
I figured we would just leave all this in. We would just hear me getting to this point where he's right. I sounded like a real money hungry piece of shit, because it's really not about money. There's been some of the greatest art has made very little money, but they become cult classics. And so I don't know why I said that about money. I was just trying to counteract your panty comment. So fine, take 3. So so what you're saying is you judge success by panties being thrown at you. I judge it based on the artistic integrity and acclaim of the art, and also the monetary value.
It's all of that. And Marky Mark was definitely a success by every metric except maybe artistic achievement and integrity and all that.